Hey guys, so I'm Carrie, and I'm going to be talking about the best books I read in 2018. This is my first official booktube video, so hello booktube. But first, some honorable mentions. The first book I'm going to talk about is The Way You Make Me Feel. It's about a rebellious Asian American living in LA that has to work at her father's Brazilian Korean food truck over the summer as punishment for doing a prank that goes too far. And along the way, she starts some unexpected relationships with people. So the next book I'm going to talk about is Autobiography, and it honestly has the best bisexual rep I have ever read. And like, look how great the cover is. It's gorgeous. So Tanner Scott used to live in California but has moved to Utah and has like temporarily gone back into the closet. There he falls for Sebastian Brother, a famous Mormon prodigy and his teacher's assistant. And basically the author discusses the conflict between religion and queer people. Okay, so the next book I'm going to talk about is Let's Talk About Love. A great book. After a terrible breakup with her girlfriend, our black, biromantic, asexual main character decides to take a break from dating. But then she like falls for like this adorable East Asian American, and she basically has to decide whether or not she wants to risk their friendship for a love that might not be reciprocated. Okay, this Savage song and beautiful cover. So this Savage song, one of my favorite authors. This might be like my second favorite series by Victoria. So Verity is a city that is split in two. It has Kate Harker on one side and August Flynn on the other. On Kate Harker's side, the monsters run wild and humans have to pay for their safety, while August Flynn, a monster, has to fight to protect humans on his side. So the story goes where, so basically August goes undercover to spy on Kate Harker, and shit happens. Yeah. And war. And it's great. And I love the world that Victoria Schwab created in this book. Side note, there's romance, but it's not a lot, which I really love and appreciate. City of Ghosts is another book by Victoria Schwab. And look at it. It's the ARC version. I'm not sure how different it looks, but it's gorgeous. So Cassidy Blake's parents are ghost hunters and are completely oblivious to the fact that Cassidy can actually see ghosts and that her best friend Jacob is a ghost. The family moves to Scotland to start their supernatural ghost hunting TV show. And there, Cassidy and Jacob encounter a lot of ghosts, and some of them are not friendly. More Happy Than Not is such a sad story and I love it. The plot is kind of hard to explain, so I'm just gonna read off my laptop because, yes. Aaron is struggling to find happiness after a family tragedy. He's slowly getting better with the help of his girlfriend Genevieve and his new best friend Thomas. As time goes by, Aaron discovers things about himself that threaten his happiness, and has to decide if he should go to the Lateo Institute to alter his memories. Basically, Aaron has to decide if he wants to forget that he's gay and try to force himself to live a life as a straight person. It's a really sad story about internal homophobia, and it sucks. And it'll make you cry, maybe. Okay, so now onto the books that I really liked, and I'm gonna talk about them in depth. Yeah. First book is this, Landscape with an Invisible Hand. The cover is obnoxiously colorful, and I honestly would not have picked it up if it weren't one of the books that I had to read for my book club. I was honestly surprised with how much I liked this book. Landscape with an Invisible Hand is an alien invasion book. However, it takes a completely different perspective on it. When the Vuv, an alien species, came to Earth, they came in peace. The humans weren't terrified by them. They brought cures for all our illnesses and really advanced technology. But as the Vuv became part of our lives, their technology started to replace all our jobs, and medicine and food became inaccessible to most people. So instead of a story about guns and war to fight for survival, it's a story about colonization and capitalism and elitism. And it's one of those books that you sort of have to really take your time analyzing. In addition to that, it also addresses creativity and autonomy, and it's really great. To me, this story parallels how in our society today there are resources that only the people with connections and money have access to. And this story sort of foreshadows what could happen to our world if we continue to deprive people from jobs and access to necessities. Like, this book is a lot to take in, and there's just so many metaphors and details that are just so well written and good in this story. And I feel like this will be a book that I will continue reading in the future, because every time I would read it or think about it, I would notice and learn things I didn't see the first time. The next book is The Poppy War, and look how gorgeous this is. It's pretty thick. It's 527 pages, but I swear it's really good and worth your time. I think it's the only adult fiction I actually have on this list. Let me read off my laptop. Rin, a dark-skinned peasant girl from the south, passes the empire-wide exam into Sinigard, an elite military school. There she is bullied and shunned by her peers for her class, skin color, poverty, and gender. I don't want to spoil too much, but Rin has to survive the cruel environment of this military school, shamans and gods, and the inevitable rising of the Third Poppy War. Shout out to this book for being the only book I've read that addresses and acknowledges colorism between light-skinned and dark-skinned Asians. If you don't know what colorism is, it is essentially discrimination against people of the same ethnicity or the same racial group because they have darker skin. People act like it doesn't exist, but I can tell you from personal experience that it does exist, and I really love that it's talked about in this book. The story of the Poppy War is so well written and intense. I love how detailed and uncensored this story is, especially when it comes to building and describing the cruel, gruesome world that Rin has to survive in. Although there are a lot of stories about a poor main character that has to struggle to survive in in an environment with better educated elite people, the way the Poppy War is written is so refreshing and different from that, and I like it. The Poppy War is also so like condensed yet so well paced at the same time. It's weird. Like, okay, like imagine the entire Percy Jackson series, just like the first 5, right? Or like even the Harry Potter series, and just like think about all that stuff that happened in each and every book. Imagine that all condensed into one book. That is this book. That is the Poppy War. The Poppy War just has everything, like an entire series condensed into one book, and it's like pfft. And like honestly, if series could just condense their shit to one book, I would be so happy, because I'm like, it's so hard to read so many books sometimes. I'm like, can we just make it one book or a duology? I don't know. Okay, the next book. The next book is Far From You. And so, yeah. So 4 months ago, Mina died in a drug deal that went wrong. But Sophie knows that there was no drug deal and that her best friend was murdered. And so the book follows Sophie as she tries to find Mina's killer. This story is just really well written, and I would die to find another book that parallels in like the amount of emotional turmoil and pain that it gave me, because it was just like so good, and like wow, the pain was great. I do want to say though that the climax by itself it could come off kind of as stereotypical action movie plot, in the sense that it's like a little rushed and overwhelming, and you kind of just have to like accept the information they're throwing at you and just go with it. But like looking at how they handled that ending with the pacing of the book overall, I'm kind of like okay with that. So like Far From You has perfect placement of like each clue and adding tension to the story. To me, the pacing of Far From You is one of the highlights of this book. It is like agonizingly slow, but like in a really good slow burn kind of way, and then the climax is super fast. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I think that's more up to interpretation by the reader. For me, I think it kind of works because the author took the time to make the pacing of the mystery really slow, and then you get to the climax and it's all super fast and just coming at you. But like at the same time, I do think it reduces the credibility of how realistic and how well the ending was handled. Other highlight of the story is just how fucking tragic it is. Like, it's so sad. And I can't really say why it's sad without spoiling it. I don't even know if it's a spoiler, but I'm just not gonna talk about it just to be safe. The tragedy of the story is written in such a emotional, poetic way, and it makes my heart literally ache for the main character because it is so fucking sad. And like, it sort of reminds me of like the agony and emptiness I felt when I was reading The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. That's how emotional that book was. So this is the next book, Girl Made of Stars. So Mara and Owen are about as close as twins can get. Then Mara's friend accuses Owen of raping her. And Mara is torn between her family and what she believes is right and wrong. This book is heartbreaking. I was intrigued of the idea of reading a story that not only discusses rape and its culture and victim blaming, but also discusses knowing rape is wrong and finding yourself in a situation where someone you know is a rapist. And I love the perspective or direction that the author took with this book. And there's an issue of people suddenly switching sides when the rapist is someone they know. So I appreciate the author stepping up and addressing this issue and saying that rape is rape, even if it is someone you know. However, I am highly aware that discussing an important issue or making a book diverse does not automatically make it a good book. Each event was spaced out to build up to the ending without completely dragging out the story. The way the ending was handled, I honestly don't think there would have been a better way to handle it. Although I wish that the author did delve into it more, I'm totally okay with it. The way Mara's internal struggle to cope with what has happened is extremely realistic and representative of how people would feel. The author beautifully expresses human emotion and pain with such powerful and descriptive writing. If I Was Your Girl. Beautiful book. So Amanda Hardy has just moved in with her father. Now she's in a new school and in a new town, and she's determined to fit in and hide the fact that she's trans. And then life is great for Amanda, but then she starts to fall for someone, and Amanda so badly wants to just tell him everything about her, but she's afraid that he won't accept her after he finds out that she's trans. I loved reading about Amanda and her struggle and listening to her internal dialogue because it was something that I could relate to. The author was able to magically take our emotions and thoughts and actually form words expressing trans people's fears and pain and internal transphobia. And just the way that it's written is just so raw and emotional and descriptive, and I really liked it. Unfortunately, I don't remember enough about this book for me to review this in detail, and I don't want to lie and fabricate compliments of this book because that's not very honest to me, and I don't want to do that. And no, the reason why I can't recall a lot of it is not because it's a forgettable book, it's just that in general, I don't remember details of most of the books I read. And I was stupid and did not leave a review on Goodreads, so I really don't remember what specifically made me like this book. But I do remember that I loved the way it was written and the story, and I couldn't stop reading it because it was just so good. I just realized this book is all... Oh no! The pages are done. Oh my god, my poor baby. Who did this to you? I did it. This is sad. And I'm disappointed in myself. Here is Not Even Bones, and it is such a great book, and I love it. Also, the cover of the sequel is gorgeous. The series is called Market of Monsters. Whew. That's hot. Yikes. Carrie, stop. Yeah, so Not Even Bones. The series is called Monsters of Market of the series is called my god. The series is called Market of Monsters. So I'm not really sure how to explain this one. Like, honestly, I'm just gonna read the synopsis because that's what drew me to this book in the first place, and no words said by me could do this book justice. Nita doesn't murder supernatural beings and sell their body parts on the internet. Her mother does that. Nita just dissects the bodies after they've been acquired, until her mom brings home a live specimen and Nita decides she wants out. Dissecting a scared teenage boy is a step too far for her. But when she decides to save her mother's victim, she ends up being sold in his place. Because Nita herself isn't exactly human. She has the ability to alter her biology, a talent that is priceless on the black market. Now on the other side of the bars, if she wants to escape, Nita must ask herself if she's willing to become the worst kind of monster. So basically, this book is about a morally gray character who was sold on a supernatural black market and needs to escape and survive. This book is hands down the next best thing, and y'all are sleeping on it, and stop. Please, just read this series. Oh my god. I want it to be popular. First of all, thank you to Rebecca for acknowledging on Twitter that books do not need romance, and for not putting some garbage forced romance in this series, because ugh. Second, the plot of this book is just like so refreshing and new, and I just love it because like yeah. Like the story is just so intense and gritty and violent, and I just love it so much. It's great. I literally cannot think of a single book that is similar to this story. There's literally nothing that I've read that is similar to this book. But like, I low-key wish that there was some books like it, because after reading Not Even Bones, I am so desperate for another book like this. Like I said, this book is totally different from other books, and because of that, I didn't know what to expect from it. Like, it's been so long since I've read a book that did not have a predictable plot. Okay. No words can describe how in love I am with this book. Like, it is a whole ass aesthetic, okay? And I love it. Nita, I love you. You are beautiful and low-key questionable, but I love you. They have been added to like my cute little murder squad with John Cleaver and Jasper Dent. Albeit, Jasper has never murdered someone, I think. And John Cleaver, well, John. Anyway, I'm getting distracted, so never mind. Okay, so back to the characters of this beautiful book. Kovit is an interesting character. I love him. I love Kovit. And you're gonna read this book and be like, Carrie, why do you like these characters? And I'll be like, I don't know, but I like them. Okay, let me move on. So Rebecca, the author, they're really good at world building. And for me, I always have problems with world building. Like, honestly, I'm probably just super picky about it. I'm not gonna elaborate because I can't identify the factors that make it good world building. I'm sorry. But I can say that yes, I was gonna swear. But I can say that I love this raw, gruesome, dark world that Rebecca has created for this series. Rebecca is also super good at creating characters. Seeing main characters be like ridiculously good and self-sacrificing all the time, especially in dangerous, life-threatening situations, is honestly just so unrealistic and predictable and repetitive for me. This book really explores and highlights personal morals and the human impulse we have when it comes to our own survival. Because of this, I think it represents how people would react realistically, and it expresses how life and our choices aren't always black and white. Thank you for watching. Bye!